we're heading to Morocco. We are Alistair and Gabby, a couple of Kiwis from New Zealand exploring the world. In this video, we're heading to Morocco, our first African country.
First time in Africa!
For this quick 5-day adventure, we're heading to Marrakech, Essaouira, and the Atlas Mountains. We're going to be travelling with our South African friends, Shane and Ryan. It was an intense few days with a lot of exploring, learning, and eating amazing foods.
Running on a few hours of sleep, heading to Morocco.
Just touched down, first time in Africa.
It's very warm! This is the hottest I've ever been in my life. I've got sweat on my knees and my elbows. It's been quite chaotic, quite draining. There's actually not a lot of locals here because of classic us came during a holiday. It's actually like kind of dead. And so when we went to the market, we're like sort of often the only people there. And so just getting like harassed by the shop owners. You know, harangued and just, yeah, so kind of relentless and draining, and we didn't even buy anything.
One thing about Marrakech is it was extremely difficult to film. You could even just be filming yourself and people will get super aggressive. We had people coming up asking us for money, and before going to Morocco we knew that particularly Marrakech had a reputation for being one of the hardest places in the world to film, but we didn't quite know what we were in store for until we were there, and put us on edge for sure.
Never had snail before. I want a little one. I'm a bit scared. Oh, it's not a little one.
So I'd give that like a 1.5 out of 10. It's like almost makes me want to gag.
Shayna's lapping them up.
Yeah. It tastes like slightly off salty water that's chewy.
The star of the show is Camel Tangier. Camel Tangier. Camel.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
What do you got there?
A prickly pear cactus fruit, a very, very seedy thing. I don't like it.
On day 2, we headed to the Atlas Mountains.
We're here with the camels going for a camel ride in the desert.
Last one.
New Zealand.
Big welcome, big welcome.
Shukran.
On our way out to the mountains, we stopped by a local argan oil store. Argan trees are endemic to Morocco, and the production of argan oil and argan products provides an important economic opportunity in the rural villages. This particular store was run fully by women. As soon as we were out of the city, we experienced amazing hospitality. It was an absolute breath of fresh air after being in the scammy, intense vibe of Marrakech.
Shukran.
This is traditional Moroccan mint tea. It is delicious and sweet, and we drank so much of it. It's crazy that the locals drink this hot tea during the heat of the summer to keep cool. We were drinking it in 46-degree heat.
I love
here in one of the Berber traditional villages. Seems like about a couple hundred people probably live here, fairly high in the Atlas Mountains, and it's stunning. It's still hot.
This is our host, Mustafa. He was our incredible guide for this trip into the mountains, with the main event being us visiting his family in a small Berber village.
You know, in our culture, if you have somebody in your house, you stay for a long time or something, and you want him to leave without telling him you should leave, what do you do? Pour the glass until the fall of the pot. So when he finishes, he will understand that it's like he should leave.
You have an extra big cup of tea because we want you to leave.
They cooked us the most amazing feast for lunch to have in their family home. Moroccan salad, tagine, and Moroccan couscous. And of course, mint tea. It was probably the best meal that we had the whole time we were in Morocco.
Just got back to the hostel. It's like midnight-ish. Been a very long day again, big full day, and it's been epic, and it's been fun, and we've eaten delicious Moroccan food in a Berber home. We've learned a huge amount about the country, and now we're going to crash out and head to the coast tomorrow. On day 3, we decided that we needed to get away from the intense, chaotic Marrakech, and so we decided to jump on a bus, travel a few hours west to the coastal city of Essaouira. Essaouira was the complete opposite vibe of Marrakech. We generally trusted we would get charged a fair price for things, and we didn't feel like everyone was trying to take advantage of us by pulling tricks and charging triple what the locals would pay. This meant we could relax and do a lot more of the local things. We were still pretty jaded from being in Marrakech though, so we didn't film a lot and kept it pretty low-key with the cameras.
We tried to go out to the point. Oh my goodness! We tried to go out to the point for the sunset, but Essaouira is actually one of the windiest cities in the world, and it was freezing out there. So we're gonna just see the sunset from a different spot.
On our first night in Essaouira, we sat down for dinner at a local place. This here is Moroccan fish and chips. We started to get hassled by this dude who was really, really drunk. He was pretty aggressive and he stood up, he was yelling. We were pretty concerned that he was just going to start swinging basically. So we got out of there pretty quickly and it was pretty buzzkill. I guess dealing with someone like that in your own country sucks, but it definitely feels worse when you have to deal with that in a part of the world you're not familiar with. You know, the police system is very different. But hey, that's the reality of traveling sometimes. It's not as glamorous as a lot of our videos and other people's videos make it look, right? But it's part of it.
On our second to last day, we decided to get way off the beaten track.
So we're on a bus heading to the Draa markets outside of Essaouira. It's a traditional market, I believe well over 1,000 years ago. And for centuries now, it's been a central trading point for all of the farmers in the surrounding area of Essaouira. So gonna go see some super authentic stuff with no tourists around, I think.
This market is very unique and we were pretty nervous to go there. Or at least, I was pretty nervous. It's a place where hardly any tourists ever go and hardly any women go, let alone women tourists, so I was pretty nervous. Unfortunately, we arrived quite late and a lot of the market was packing up, especially the meat part. Considering it was already 40 degrees, it kind of makes sense. This market was pretty rough and it showed a pretty raw side of the country. Right away, we met a stall holder and he offered to show us around. We were really uncertain about this.
I don't want to...
Everyone we encountered in Marrakech that tried to do similar things, we always refused, because normally in Marrakech, it generally leads to them asking for money, and then if you don't give them money, then they start getting really aggressive, and it's just generally a situation that we were just trying to avoid completely. But this guy just wouldn't take no for an answer.
Oh, naughty.
We let him show us around the market, and he turned out to be a really genuinely kind man.
You know, only paprika.
Yeah.
He invited us into his store, was teaching us about all these different types of spices, made us mint tea, of course.
This is Moroccan whiskey.
It was really lovely, it really was. It was kind of bittersweet though, because it shined a light on the tragedy of travelling to areas where a lot of people are trying to take advantage of you. It can make you overly suspicious of those who are being genuine.
For chicken.
Oh,
Chicken lemon.
nice.
For chicken lemon.
It's just a really hard balance to get right. You don't want to get taken advantage of, but you also don't want to have your guard up for every single person.
On our final day, we had a cruisy morning in Essaouira and went back to Marrakech for a final evening in the chaotic old town. We were having a pretty good night. We met some cool people, and then we went into the middle of the square. There were a few different people performing. They had big crowds around them, and we were watching one of them, and I was filming some video from the edge of the crowd. And it was pretty subtle, small camera, being pretty careful with it. Just had the little red light showing that it's recording on it. The guy sees the camera and just stops playing and yelled at me, "Hey!" and stares at me with like a death stare. Why was he so offended? To this day, I don't know. We know filming is a sensitive thing in Morocco, but this guy was performing on the street with easily 100 people all around him watching. I was never meaning to be disrespectful. And unfortunately, honestly, this kind of summed up our short experience of Morocco. We left feeling a strange tension about the place. On the one hand, we met some incredibly kind, friendly people that literally took us into their homes and fed us, but we also have never been anywhere in the world where more people were trying to take advantage of us, and this got really, really tiring really quickly. It's been many months since that trip, and honestly, I still don't really know how I feel about Morocco. At the end of the day, we both really believe in our hearts that the vast majority of people are kind, good people with good intentions, and it's their circumstances or the environment they're in, the difficulties they're facing that cause them to do bad things or to treat people badly. And we're sure that there's a whole lot of richness and kindness to experience in Morocco. It's just a bit harder to find as a tourist, as a foreigner, especially one with a camera. And that's okay. We'll go back and we'll see what we can find.